So sit back and get ready for some laughs, a lot of action, and a bit of black magic because, well, I'm Bill Harris.
And I'm Rex Reed. And you are at the movies.
Can you figure it out? A guy bangs into my car, thinks I did him in, tries to get even with me by stealing my wife. You two fall in love.
This was that guy?
Got that guy again?
His wife.
Do you remember Diner, the surprise hit from 1982? It traced the roots of its talented young writer-director Barry Levinson back to the Hilltop Diner in Baltimore. And it was about a group of 50s buddies, they were jerks, really, who had to decide about their jobs and their girls and their futures. Well, now, Levinson is back in Baltimore, the territory he knows so well, with a look at the older guys who were on the other side of that diner, the fast-talking hustlers who call themselves tin men because they sold aluminum siding to innocent customers in these elaborate scams for big commissions. And the story centers on two rival aluminum siding salesmen. Richard Dreyfuss is B.B. Babowski. He's a flashy, cocky little peacock whose brand new Cadillac gets smashed the minute he backs it out of the showroom by this other guy, Ernest Tilley, and he's played by Danny DeVito. Well, it's hate at first sight, and these two feuding banana heads spend the whole rest of the movie trying to humiliate and insult each other with really hilarious results. For tin men, every day begins the same, with breakfast at that diner and comic dialogue like this.
I'm going to tell you something. This Bonanza is not an accurate depiction of the West. That's all I'm saying. Do you ever watch that show? Bonanza.
Is somebody talking about Bonanza in here?
Today's a Bonanza
Oh, it's
day.
today, it's Monday.
Today's Bonanza day.
Bonanza Day, the Big B Day.
Yeah.
And the boys
You can laugh about it, but it's just unbelievable. We ever see the show? It's a 50-year-old father and three 47-year-old sons. You know why they get along good? Because they're all the same age. Hey, Pa, you ride the horse, and I'll go to town. Come on, what kind of show is that?
Dreyfuss researches his enemies so well, he's hell-bent on the ultimate revenge, and he plans a master seduction of the other man's wife, who's played by Barbara Hershey.
The television dinners, you know?
I don't think so. Not a lot of them, anyway. They're not too good for you.
My wife just died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, I'm over it now. It's been a very trying time,
I can imagine.
learning how to eat again.
You know what might be a lot more healthy and satisfying would be if you bought yourself a chicken. You pop it in the oven for a couple hours, put a little bit of seasoning on it, cook it at low temperatures, a lot more tender that way. Yeah, it makes a good meal, and then you can use the leftovers for sandwiches.
But you have to sit and watch it cook. It seems so sad, you know, a man sitting alone in a house watching a chicken cook.
Well, like Diner, Tin Men is really a movie about male chauvinists who are pathetically unable to relate to women. They're really at home with each other, and the scams and the frauds that they dream up to cheat their blue-collar customers are beautifully observed in the film. It's small wonder that the two heels end up buddies in the end. Dreyfuss does what he does best in this picture, which means he's both obnoxious and sympathetic at the same time. And it's really good to see Danny DeVito as something more human than just a comic caricature of some pint-sized loudmouth. The film is smart, it's solid, it's freshly observed, it's got wonderful dialogue with a rhythm all of its own. It's not slapstick, but it does make you laugh, and it's all so well served by this superb cast. They're like Damon Runyon characters from Guys and Dolls. They've got wash-and-wear shirts and Robert Hall ties, and it's a really nice change of pace. It's a different kind of movie.
It is a different kind of movie, and it did make me laugh. I'm very glad about that. Danny DeVito, I thought, was wonderful. You're very right. A whole character. Shorter than most, perhaps, but a whole character. It was a pleasure. Dreyfuss was funny, and it was oddly touching. These are dinosaurs. These are construction con men, and their end is coming. They're what they know best.
They're sort of tough guys, but underneath it all, they really would like to be understood by girls, by each other. But, you know, It's not a movie for everybody, but if you care about the little people and what they're like and what their ambiance is like, what their homes look like, what their relationships are like, it's very freshly observed.
I have to tip my hat to Jackie Gale, the old comic.
Oh,
his part was
terrific.
sensational, and his reading, and I was real impressed with him. But it made me laugh. I think it'll make people laugh. And it also is nice to see the flip side and have some human emotion.
Absolutely.
Second film, Mel Gibson stars in Lethal Weapon, and he stars as a lethal weapon. He's a recent widower and a CIA-trained killer turned cop who's so overcome and so depressed at the death of his wife that his co-workers in the police force think he may do himself in. On the other hand, Danny Glover is a department rock of a detective, a long-married, stable professional, and a fellow Vietnam veteran who's horrified when he meets his unpredictable, possibly psychotic new partner, Gibson. Now, the seemingly ordinary suicide of a young prostitute starts both the film and the case, a case that eventually brings back old friends and dirty business from the Vietnam days. Very dirty business, and very deadly.
This is big business, Roger. Not anymore. I'm gonna burn it down. You can't. It's too big, Rog. These people are trained, expert killers. I want to know about your next shipment. I want to know where it's coming in, how many people you got working for you.
I can't tell you that,
I want to
Roger.
know your sources
Roger, I can't.
abroad. I want to know how
I've
long
got
you've
another
been into
daughter.
this.
You
I
people
want
can't
all the
protect her. I am
information
in
you
this
give
too
me.
deep, Roger.
Lethal Weapon's a gritty kind of thriller, full of humor and street people, and with a peroxided Gary Busey as a certifiably psychotic killer.
Hi.
What's a nice Irish girl like you doing out here tonight? Hey, listen, I'm looking for a guy. Had this girl in his stable. You know this girl?
No, I never seen her before.
Dixie, she's in your line of work, you sure?
Sure, why? What are you doing?
Well, I'm a police officer. Don't worry, I'm not going to drag your ass to jail.
This one is just about as exciting as it gets. A down and dirty and highly enjoyable action-adventure police picture in the same sort of league as The French Connection or your own particular favorite. The action is just non-stop. All of the actors seem to be giving it their all, and I say audiences are going to be screaming at the screen in theaters around the country. Gritty is the word, but so is good. There's fine humor, and there's a wonderful chemistry between Gibson and Glover, even an intelligent script for a change. And now, for you real Gibson groupies, the news that there's also a bare-bottom scene of your hero that'll show you just what the Australian star is really like down under.
Well, one side, anyway. Don't get them too excited.
True enough.
You know, I honestly agree with you about this, and I don't know why. I must be losing my mind, because this is not my kind of movie. From Super Cops way back to Dragnet, the odd couple, mismatched police partner movie is as old as the hills, but this one has time for character development. You get to know these men. You know Danny Glover's family. You get to move into his house. You see how they live. You see why they're different, how they come together. And, I don't know, the thrills, the chases, the inhuman violence. We've got to warn them, it's very violent.
It's violent.
But it's fresh.
And
I never saw this violence before.
True, and there isn't that much
And when he
bloodshed, I have to say,
runs
in all
all the
honesty.
way across Los Angeles on foot and smashes up half of that town, it's not directed by the Richard Donner who directed Superman for nothing.
This is exciting. This
I
is
liked it.
fast-moving,
I liked
and I
it.
liked it, too. Coming up in a cover story, People magazine once called the star of Lethal Weapon the sexiest man on Earth. In a minute, you decide. He becomes the sexiest man on At the Movies as we interview Mel Gibson. In films from the Mad Max series to The Year of Living Dangerously, Mel Gibson's earned himself an army of fans around the world. You just heard that Rex and I both like Lethal Weapon a lot. Before we meet Mel Gibson, here's the moment from Lethal Weapon when Danny Glover meets his new partner.
Raj, meet your new partner.
When the Lethal Weapon script came to you, I read that Mel Gibson counts on something he calls his BS meter. How did it rate on your BS meter?
My bull socks meter. It had a certain amount of bull socks in it, but I mean, those were overcome by, you can read a script. No script is perfect, but it had a lot of possibilities. It had a lot of range. It had a lot of opportunity, I thought, for me personally.
Well, we're told that the minute you and Danny Glover sat down and read it, it was a done deal. You saw what could happen. You saw the humor.
Yeah. I saw that when I read it the first time, but that only reinforced things. So it was quite a nice script structurally. The lethal weapon. It's kind of an interesting idea. A person as a weapon. A person as a lethal weapon. And I thought, is this for real? And it is for real. There are people like that. Yeah. And that surprised me. And I met some of them and talked about what they know and how they do it psychologically as well. I mean, it's a whole
They're a different breed, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes, they are.
You think I'm crazy? Yeah. How you calling me crazy? You think I'm crazy? Yeah, you want to see crazy? I'll tell you. Now, that's a real badge. I'm a real cop, and this is a real time.
Another one of the pleasures of Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson doing the Three Stooges.
Yeah, well, they're great heroes of mine. I've always admired the Three Stooges and tried to emulate them in any way that I possibly can. I mean, it wasn't terrible. They don't bear much cerebral analysis, the Three Stooges, but they kept me chuckling through my childhood years. I think it's part of that character to throw other people off mentally, to outfox them with his mind as well, to perhaps make them think he's some kind of an idiot, and therefore that they'll drop their defenses a little bit, and that's when you go in. But I mean, in a way, I mean, he does have to come to a new self. I mean, his character is a man in a lot of pain, and I think what's happening to him is he's getting mature, and it's his new persona trying to fire his old one out. And
but the old
one doesn't want to go, and there's a big struggle going on. He doesn't know whether to shoot himself or keep going. He's confused.
Was it risky doing the final fight scene with Gary Busey, in which the two...
Oh, no.
No. We're 10 feet away from each other, making it look as though we're kicking each other, or...
Yeah, but I mean, it was coordinated by people who really know what they're doing, who've been at it, and we were being versed in safety. That was the very first thing, was safety first, and it's a good way to go into these things. So that they narrowed them up. Any kind of danger was very narrow. I mean, the chances of... he clocked me once during that. He actually connected once, and I thought to myself immediately, this is ridiculous. No fight can go on this long. It would, fights, 20 seconds, I think. About as long as they ever get. And they're over.
Someone's dead.
Someone's dead, or someone really doesn't want to participate anymore, because you're seeing stars. So he clocked me once by mistake. I mean, I didn't clock him back or anything, except for about, 2 nights later on. By mistake, again, a mistake. But it felt good.
In a little screening room in Sydney, Australia, the first rough cut of Mad Max, and I saw Mel Gibson for the first time. Knew he was going to be a star. His American films, in which he's done a lot of more sensitive things than Lethal Weapon, have not really been big box office successes. I have a feeling this is going to be it. I think Lethal Weapon will be his most successful American film. What do you think?
I agree.
Next, down-and-out private eye Mickey Rourke searches for a mysterious singer from the heart of darkest New York to the black magic backwaters of New Orleans. The thing most people are apt to remember about Angel Heart is the well-publicized flap over its X rating. The censors objected to this little scene, you see, with Mickey Rourke, who God knows has shown it all before, thrashing around in the bed with Lisa Bonet, America's favorite little kid from The Cosby Show, while blood dripped from the ceiling on their fannies. Chop, 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 now the film has an R. Okay, no more sex. Instead, you get a stomach-churning holocaust of violence as Rourke gets slashed with razor blades, mauled by dogs, and savagely beaten by thug after thug, while everybody around him ends up swallowing various parts of their dismembered anatomy. Rourke is a seedy private eye named Angel, and he's hired by this sinister, menacing Dracula type named Lucifer. Remember that name. To find a crooner named Johnny Favorite, who disappeared after World War II in an insane asylum. Well, with fingernails like long razor blades, the menacing Lucifer is played by Robert De Niro in one of his campiest performances. Now, watch this, because no other actor could get this much out of an egg.
It looks like our Johnny has found himself a perfect disappearing act.
Seems so.
Well, you know what they say about slugs.
No, what do they say about slugs?
They always leave slime in their tracks. You'll find them.
Nothing to tell.
The trail leads to the Louisiana bayous, and Lisa Bonet is a teenage voodoo queen with more on her mind than the mambo.
Sad and simple.
Epiphany, there's too many dead bodies floating around, even for Louisiana. I tell you, old man, to look out for you. You do have a husband.
No, no husband.
No?
Mm-mm.
Jesus, you got beautiful eyes, Epiphany.
As the girls get prettier in this film, Angel gets seedier and weirder, and so does the movie. There's devil worship, there's Charlotte Rampling in a walk-on, practically, as the Witch of Wellesley, a society dame who casts spells and ends up with her heart pumping across the living room floor. You also get cockfights, Bourbon Street oyster bars, Harlem gospel meetings, gloomy insane asylums, Cajun cabins in the swamps, a deserted beach on Coney Island. Alan Parker's direction, well, it's stylish, and it's like a photography exhibit. You could take one frame from every scene in this movie and compile all these frames into a coffee table book, and you've got the art book of the year. But the film, unfortunately, has more style than coherence. What does this all mean? Just think about Robert De Niro, who keeps licking his chops like a vampire. Lucifer, Lucifer, Lucifer. All right, you don't get it? He even says, oh, well, Mephistopheles is such a mouthful in Manhattan. I mean, is this a comedy or what? And Mickey Rourke, well, when you find out who he turns out to be, you may want to put a voodoo hex on the whole thing. He's so dirty you could grow geraniums in his armpits. This movie is silly, it's pretentious, it's really baloney with Gregorian chants, but I'll tell you something, it's never boring for a single second. It's sick, but gorgeous, and that's high praise indeed.
I knew a girl who was sick but gorgeous, and I was spellbound. I liked her a lot. I thought this movie was spellbinding. I could not walk away from this. This gets, my highest, and I love this. It was Raymond Chandler meets The Exorcist.
You can't analyze it, though. It doesn't make a bit of sense.
So many don't, but it's enjoyable.
It starts out with water trickling down a drain to a woman whose throat has been slashed. It looks like Hieronymus Bosch. It's gorgeous to look at.
I remember it well.
But by the time this man drowns with his head in a vat of boiling gumbo, I had to laugh.
Well, I sure wouldn't order the gumbo either. Robert Redford once owned the rights and said, no, finally it passed. Thank heaven. This teaming was wonderful. De Niro, you can't take your eyes off the screen when he's... I enjoyed this a lot.
Really fascinating.
I enjoyed this one. Coming up next, Rex and I are going to be giving you our home video picks for the week. Right now, Rex and I have our video picks of the week. Mine is a reminder that videos don't have to be just movies. Now, once upon a time, there was a master showman, a music maker, and a band leader who had a distinctively different touch with music. His name was Spike Jones. His band was called the City Slickers, and now a new performance tape is available. It's a musical reminder that they had million-selling records. They had a TV show, and he had fun.
Well, in Touch of Evil, the great Orson Welles had some fun, too. He took the viewer on a peeping Tom tour of a sleazy Mexican border town. He clashed with Charlton Heston and terrorized Janet Leigh, and there was a whole seedy assortment of racketeers and killers. plus the one and only Marlene Dietrich, who, disguised as the madam of a Mexican bordello, gave the whale-sized Orson the once-over and got the film's best line. Here it is.
I didn't recognize you. You should lay off those candy bars.
It's either the candy or the hooch. I must say, I wish it was your chili I was getting fat on. Anyway, you're sure looking good.
You a mess, honey.
Trust us for a guide through the classics. Right now, let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. The warm, touching, and very funny Tin Men is a great departure for Danny DeVito. 3 stars from me. Rex was charmed by it as well. 3.5 stars from him. The action-packed thriller Lethal Weapon is exciting and substantial. I gave this one 3 stars, and Rex agrees. 3 stars from Mr. Reed. And then the dark, turbulent mystery thriller Angel Heart was a 4-star fascination for me. Rex thought it was orchestrated superbly, but maybe a little too dark. Still, 3 stars from him.
That's it for this week. Next week, we'll review 4 new movies, including Burt Reynolds as a down-and-out gambler who's down to his last dime in the movie Heat. Until then, I'm Rex Reed.
And I'm Bill Harris, and we'll see you at the movies.
Whoppers, the fun, crunchy candy with a delicious taste of chocolate. For big taste at home or at the movies, it's Whoppers candy. Calling all kids for a stimulating activity center with colorful graphics. It's the soft, portable Fun Tote, Learning Curves Fun Tote, part of the Learning Curve system from Panoche Place. Dentine, not even mouthwash freshens your breath better than when you're chewing clean, crisp-tasting Dentine. Try it in spearmint, too.
Coming up next on Channel 11, The Honeymooners.
That's